we're going to make my favorite biscotti, chocolate chip espresso walnut. Okay, you're going to love these. And let me just tell you, the secret ingredient is this instant espresso coffee. Absolutely must have this, okay? The first thing you do is you sift together your flour, baking powder, cinnamon, and salt. And don't worry if you don't have a sifter. I use this. The recipe in the comments is for one batch. I'm doing 2 batches, okay? So I'm going to add my eggs in one at a time and continue beating. But what I do is I add 1 egg at a time, but I always crack the egg in a separate bowl. Why do I do that? Well, what happens if I get a big piece of shell in this bowl or the egg is rotten? If I crack it directly into here, I've ruined all of this batter. So I do my eggs one at a time in a separate bowl. When I know it's good, I'll throw it in the mixer. Okay, the recipe calls for 2 cups of chocolate chips and 2 cups of walnuts, but I'm only going to put in 1 cup of walnuts because I want it to be more chocolatey and more coffee flavor than nutty. We've got the flour, the baking powder, the cinnamon, and the salt sifted together in this bowl. I'm going to add it to the wet mix, and we're going to mix it until it's just incorporated. Then I'm going to move it to a cutting board where I have to shape the logs, because remember, with biscotti, you cook the logs first. Then after the logs are cooked, you slice the biscotti, and then you cook the cookies again. It's going to be a little wet, so you want to make sure that your hands are floured and that there's flour on the cutting board. We're just going to make these into a log, about 4.5 to 5 inches long. They're going to look like going in. I just gently pressed them down. So look at how nice these logs turned out. They're cooling now. The bottoms are absolutely perfect. Then I've got my serrated knife, or the knife with the teeth, and we're going to then cut these logs into the cookies and then bake them again. Okay, so I'm going to take the first log, and again, we're going to do a little diagonal cut so we get a cute little shape on the cookie. And you want to do a little sawing motion so that you can cut through the walnuts without breaking these cookies. And I don't want to make them too big. I want them to be about 2 or 3 bites. Okay, the cookies have been in for 5 minutes. I'm going to turn them over and bake them again, and we'll be all done.